From Creamer Media in Johannesburg, this is the Real Economy Report. Automotive Quality Control Specialist Chrisnelsa, in collaboration with government entity, the Automotive Industry Development Centre, and UK-based EV Training Institute Duplex Business Services, this month launched an electric vehicle and hybrid electric vehicle training centre in Rosslyn in South Africa. Tasneem Bulbulia expands.
Through the awarding of Institute of Motor Industry qualifications, this pioneer HEV training centre for South Africa and Africa aims to provide individuals in the region with comprehensive training tailored to the unique challenges and opportunities within the emerging EV market. Chrisnelsa Training Centre Administrator Cecilia Basoch expands on the features of the centre and what it aims to achieve.
So what we will be doing is upskilling and training technicians, people who work in auto electricians, and also we want to really train and also upskill the vast majority of who will come in contact with the electric vehicle. So the unique offering with the centre is behind me is a Lucas Nuller program. So what's different from our centre is that we've integrated this into our training. So it means that the people who come in won't have to necessarily work on a live car to actually see what happens in different scenarios. And that's also what makes us different from most training centres. So we provide, first of all, theoretical training. Then we also provide practical, but we also provide integrated. So they can have theory next to them and also by their side a practical experience of what is happening. So we want to target a wide range of cars. So we have here the BMW, we have here Toyota, which have been already building electric vehicle cars on the market or in our market. So what we want to do is we want to target the entire range. So what will happen is that based on the models that we receive, we will work on the guide on the electrical vehicles, and we will just ensure that we engage with all car models, because one must remember that many people will be buying different cars. So we need to train our technicians on every model of cars. So it does not help if they trained on one particular model. They need to know the variety. However, the principle remains the same with electric vehicles cars. The components at the core are the same. The only difference would be where would you locate, for example, the high voltage system to disconnect. But the model or the setup remains the same for all electrical vehicles. So safety elements is the first and most important aspect of the centre. So even when training, the first module is safety, because it is very, very dangerous to work on an electrical vehicle without the proper safety equipment, with everything from the start of our training room and from the start of the induction room. We have implemented a strong measure of safety. Even here, even though you will not necessarily need safety PPE, we want to actually instill it in the learner that every single time they work on high voltage system, they must wear their insulated gloves. They must have their protective covering. They must work on an insulated floor. Every single thing we've done is to ensure that safety is first and foremost pushed through this program. We're hoping fully operational by January. So what we want to do also with our training centre is we want to integrate the learners. So students who come out of university, students with either a technicon or something technical in the auto electric industry or mechanical or automotive industry, to come for 24 weeks to actually work through it. So also what makes us different is that we will be training and actually giving them work experience. So it's actually it's a good thing for them, because they will actually see in real life what they're doing. At the same time, they will be training and learning from step to step. And with that, we will also be teaching them fundamentals, because many people don't even know where to start with electrical vehicles. So our program takes them step by step to ensure that they understand throughout. By the time that they leave here, they're able to actually work on a car. They're able to actually be comfortable around high voltage systems. We're looking to train 100 students per month. However, our main goal was 50,000 students in the span of 8 years. That's what we want to do. And job creation. So one thing is important is that we are targeting the mass majority. We are targeting those who actually will come across these cars. Mechanics, not every single mechanic is in a professional body shop. They need to actually know what's happening. So we want to help them so that they can also build the capacity for the mechanics, for the students as well. The charging batteries, charging stations, all these things need trained personnel, even also electricians. So with this training center, we plan on actually expanding the job creation. We plan on actually giving the market skilled, trained technicians so that when the EV finally picks up, there will be people ready to actually get into the market and be used. I've done some research on the uptake of EV. One thing about South Africa is that it's actually the leaders in EV in the whole of Africa. So with that, I believe by 2030, we'll actually be fully having hybrid vehicles. Because one thing is important, we can't just transition the majority from ICE model, normal combustion, to electrical vehicles, because there's many anxieties that come with straight electrical. What we believe as a center is that hybrid vehicle will actually be the car model that will take off, because you have the best of both worlds. You're using battery, but also you still have the safety of fuel in case you're scared. However, with that transition, we are planning on the next 10 years that people will become more comfortable with electrical vehicles, that they'll fully transition to electrical vehicles. And I just want to say, with this, what we're doing will ensure that people actually build the capacity. In South Africa, we don't have huge capacity for electrical vehicles. We don't see charging stations everywhere. So we're hoping that once people get used to the hybrid vehicles, and then once electrical vehicles come in, there will be capacity. We will have centers everywhere able to take care of these things. We will have trained the paramedics, people who come in, the tow trucking industry. All these personnel need to actually be trained in order to take on these electrical vehicles. So the cost of the center range from 8,850. However, what we are planning to do is that we want to make it reachable to the majority. And that's the important thing of partnering with the AIDC, with Masita, so that we can actually make a program catered for South Africans. One of the limitations of Electrical Vehicles Training Center is that it has been modeled for the Western world. It's not modeled for Africa. And the prices are so enormous that we, as everyday people, cannot even get into these type of training centers. So as we start now, we're starting at 8,850 for awareness, and then we go upwards in terms of level 1, level 2, and the 24 weeks, which would be 13,850, if I stand to be corrected, that's also going to be there. But as we progress and as we move forward, we really want to make this actually marketable to the majority, because at the end of the day, it's a majority that will come into contact with all these cars. It's a majority that will face potential issues with these cars. We're a partnership with AIDC. So AIDC in their center will also help in terms of training and providing students for us to train as well. So what will happen in the 24-week program is that students will start there or students will start here. So there will be a flow of students going through each and every step in terms of what they need to learn. We also have partnerships with our previous clients that we've had here in terms of work. So what we want to do is that as a company that we are already, we're based in the quality industry. So we already take people and put them into the automotive sites or into manufacturing sites to work there. So it helps that we are in collaboration with them to ensure that, you know what, if they need trained technicians, if they need personnel, we can actually equip them with these personnel. So we are in partnership with those. And we also are in future, we plan to be in partnership with Masita to make an overall based learning program suited for Africa, because there hasn't been one made yet. The reason why we placed ourselves here in Rosslyn in Pretoria is because here is where you find many of the automotive industry like BMW, Yanfin, and many of those, in also Silverton, you've got Ford and all those things. So it makes no sense for us to be far where our base and our people who we are actually wanting to upskill, wanting to provide jobs, are not even able to reach us. So that's why we've chosen this facility. However, as we plan and as we want to grow, we want to expand that and move to a bigger facility, because the capacity now is only let's say 100 that we can go towards. We eventually want to make that bigger, but this, as we want to just say, is a pilot. We want to start off here. We want to show that this is how we need to really push the electric vehicle training center for the students, technicians, paramedics, the towing companies, everyone who will come into contact with these high voltage vehicles.
That's Creamer Media's Real Economy Report. Join us again next week for more news and insight into South Africa's real economy. And don't forget to listen to the audio version of our Engineering News daily email newsletter.